The Kings 11 Punjab play their last game. They've got to win and win big. To help us with a 5-point preview of this game on Whirlpool presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout powered by Dell. We're now joined by Tom Moody and Ajit Agarkar. Now, Chennai are out. It's a must-win game for the Kings 11 Punjab. We're not too sure if Mayank Agarwal is fit. Now, Ajit and Tom, we're saying that if Mayank Agarwal is not fit, Gayle should open the innings alongside KL Rahul and Pooran comes in at 3. Tom, do you go with that move?
No, I wouldn't go with that move. As much as I talked about Gayle opening the batting in previous editions when he first came back into the side, I feel that he settled at 3. He's clearly understanding what his role is at 3. And I think by making that change, it just could sort of throw an unnecessary, spin to their top 6.
Ajit, is that a risky move? Because then you don't have much firepower left in the middle lower order. So where would you go on this one?
Yeah, 100% agree with Tom. Really, I mean, there's no real reason to now push him up. If it was the first game when Mayank Agarwal got injured, we all thought perhaps Gayle would open, then Mandeep's come and scored a few runs. I know it's hindsight, but perhaps they could then assess what a good score is quickly and not leave it, because both of them could have gone a bit harder, especially now that they have more batting. Pooran's been in good form, so those are the things that they can assess. But I don't think Gayle's position needs to change.
Right, now on to their captain, KL Rahul, 641 runs, the highest run scorer in this tournament so far. But if you look at the last 4 games, he's scoring at a strike rate of 111. We believe he should strike better if Punjab bat first in this game, Tom.
Yeah, look, I think he would openly admit that he got it wrong in that last game and maybe the last couple of games. It's hard to be overly critical given the volume of runs that KL Rahul has done and the way he's led that side, both from a captaincy point of view, but also from a batting perspective. He'll be fully aware that he needs to lift the bar somewhat. Maybe the concern of Agarwal being out of the side has sort of brought him back into his shell a little bit because he's a little bit uncertain with the vulnerability of his middle order. Let's face it, Maxwell is yet to fire. I'm sure in such an important game, he won't leave anything behind. He'll come out, I think, with certainly a more aggressive tempo.
Ajit, you've not been too keen to criticize, as Tom said, given the number of runs he scored, it's hard to be critical. But given the nature of the game, they've got to win and win big. Is that enough reason for KL Rahul to step it up?
Yes, I mean, like Tom said, I'm sure he'll admit it that he got it wrong on the night. 185 to me, just watching that game felt like it's a decent enough score. But the way he spoke after that, due and all those factors, it perhaps won't be a big factor in the next game. But the thing, once you're in for 40 balls, I think the kind of form that he is in, he might need to go a little bit harder, especially if they're one down with Pooran still to follow. Yeah, I'm sure he'd want to improve his strike rate. There's no 2 ways about it. More than that, he'll like to end up on the winning team.
The third point we're making is Chennai has got to play Ngidi and Hazelwood. Now, in the last game, they had Ngidi, Mitchell Santner, Sam Curran and Watson, the 4 foreign players. Do you see a change there? Because we believe they've got to play Ngidi and Hazelwood in this game. If Hazelwood comes in, who does he replace? Tom?
Well, if they're thinking of that, it's got to be Santner, I would have thought. But personally, I wouldn't be making those types of judgments until I see exactly what the surface looks like. I'll be a little bit hesitant with Santner, purely because of Gayle and his record against left-arm spin, and also Nicholas Pooran and his record against left-arm spin. Both with the ball turning into them is their favoured line. So it's certainly something worth considering for sure, because Mitchell Santner, even though he gives you a bit of an all-round package, I don't think his bowling with the structure of Kings 11's batting order is going to be as effective as they would like.
They still do have 2 spinners in Karan Sharma and Ravindra Jadeja, so perhaps makes a lot more sense, Ajit, to keep Santner out, add a fast bowler in.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a bad idea. I think you might have to look at the conditions. The only thing, it's an afternoon game, so there's no dew to factor in, which is probably a good thing. So they might just look at the conditions. against this batting lineup won't be the worst idea to have two seamers. I think two seamers, teams that have played have been quite successful. Considering Gayle and Puran in the opposition, might be a tough time to bowl, especially with three guys turning the ball back in. Okay, leg spinner can always bowl a googly, but with two left-arm spinners, might get tough if those two get going. So it's certainly worth a thought.
Now, in this game, we're making a case for Jagadisan or Raidu to bat alongside Gaikwad at the top in place of Watson. Is there an exciting thought, Tom?
Yeah, look, it's an exciting thought, but it's not something I'd do. I think I'd stick with Watson at the top of the order and keep it as it is. And I think MS Dhoni would be very keen, even though that they can't qualify, to do everything in their powers to finish the tournament off in a positive fashion. And yes, it's good to give a few young guys an opportunity, but I wouldn't do it to the point where it could slightly derail their ambition to win the game.
Ajit, MS Dhoni in the past, over a long time in his career, has had a bit of an appetite for risk. And so now that they're already eliminated, why not maybe give another youngster a go at the top alongside Gaikwad, Jagadisan, an opportunity? Who knows? It might just give them a cue on what they need to do next season.
I think the other way. I don't think he's had the appetite for risk. I think he sticks to what works for him. He doesn't really like to change too many things, too many changes just for the sake of it. I'm not a big fan, especially when there's a last game and you've had such a tough season.
It was quite a sight to see Ravindra Jadeja finish off that last game for CSK. It was a stunning chase as well. And now everyone across the country is making a case for Ravindra Jadeja to bat above MS Dhoni. Jadeja above Dhoni for you, Tom?
I think it's all situational based. Personally, I do believe Jadeja has probably been left a little bit too late throughout the season. We all know he's a capable batsman. He's clearly in some good form. I don't think the argument or the headline is the fact that he should bat in front of Dhoni. I think the simple fact is that he's the form player. He's a left-hander as well, which gives a point of difference. If the situation is right, not just this game, every other game, Jadeja should be utilised a little bit more effectively than what he has been.
Ajit, do numbers make a case for Jadeja to go above Dhoni? Because Dhoni scored 200 runs in 12 innings, an average of 25, a strike rate of 116.
Not really. I mean, again, it's got to be condition specific or situation specific, really. When he's in good form, so like Tom said, utilize him better. But he's played a different role for them. So to just assume or expect that he can walk in at number 3 and 4 and have the same sort of impact is sort of almost disrespecting the other guys. Everyone's got a role to perform, and so does he. But certainly with the kind of form he is in, if they can utilize him a lot better, will be for their benefit.
The Kings 11 Punjab have a negative net run rate. They need to go up to 14 points with a big win, and that might just give them a spot in the playoffs. Do they have enough gas left in the tank? We'll find out. But for now, thanks so much, Tom and Ajit, for joining us on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricinfo T20 Timeout, powered by Dell.